Well, I've calmed down a bit, and it's time for a deeper dissection of today's disappointing, dreadful loss away from home at the GTEC Community Stadium versus Brentford. It's the third successive Premier League defeat for West Ham. We're leaking goals, 4 against Villa, 3 today against Brentford. It's one of the many worries that David Moyes currently has in his in tray at the moment. A deeper dissection, I think, really just accumulates down to the shocking game management, the defensive errors, the errors individually that, yeah, David Moyes can't control, but there are some things that David Moyes can control that he got dreadfully wrong today, i.e. the substitutions. I'm going to get into all of that and much more right here on West Ham Unofficial. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. I don't know where to start, to be honest with you. To do a bit of a timeline through the game. The first half, thought we were okay. I didn't think we were fantastic, but we were okay. And I thought we were relatively fortunate to be going in to the halftime break with a 2-1 lead. Brentford has some really good chances, and they had a lot of the ball as expected, as most teams will. I'll keep reiterating this against West Ham this season. They took the 1-goal lead, and I thought they were probably value for the goal lead at the start of the game. And then it was we showed good courage to come back into the game. We'll see Neil Maupay with the goal for Brentford. His last goal about a year ago, yeah, it was against West Ham, wasn't it? And then a year later, his next goal against West Ham. You can't make this crap up, can you? He is dreadful, and we've gifted him a goal, which is really, really bad. And that goes down, and that goes on the back of Areola, in my opinion. Not many people have discussed it, but the corner isn't a corner if Areola gives Souček a shout, because Souček's heading it back behind him, and it goes out for a corner. Souček was none the wiser to know there was absolutely no danger, no Brentford shirt behind him, so he could have just left it and it would have went out for a goal kick, and they'd have never scored the first goal. The communication between the goalkeeper and the whole defence as a collective was A, non-existent, and B, not good enough today. Overall, as a collective, as a unit, we were really, really poor defensively today, and it stems from that moment. I think that's where I think we lost a little bit of confidence in terms of the defensive play. But it was good to get back into the game. We showed good character. A sensational goal, which will unfortunately be slightly forgotten about, I think, because of the result and the manner of it and all the rest of it. But it's a world-class goal from Mohamed Kudus, so it's got to be up there, you know, with our goal of the season. And we're only in November. That's how good of a goal it was. Superb, sensational. One of the very few shining lights in this team at the moment is Mohamed Kudus. There seems to be a reoccurring factor of Kudus is involved in all of our good play and all of our good moments in our goals. The shining light at the moment is Bowen and Mohamed Kudus, and Bowen was the man who scored the second goal for West Ham. It came from Kudus, who sort of shimmied it onto the post, and Bowen's there to tap it in. It's his 6th successive goal in a Premier League away game. So we scored in every away game so far this season. He's the first person to ever do that in a Premier League campaign, score in the first 6 away games. Jarrod Bowen, take a bow. Another good performance from him and Kudus today. It all started to go downhill from that moment on, really. I mean, there's the obvious miss where Antonio took the ball off of Said Benrahma, who was going to tap it in. If it goes 3-1, that's curtains, game done. We comfortably win. There's no big West Ham fan meltdown as there is currently. That's the frustrating thing about it. And yeah, maybe Mikel Antonio didn't see Said Benrahma there and he just wanted to get it done himself, but they ended up tackling themselves. Again, the common denominator, a lack of communication, and it's at the other end of the pitch this time, which is the concerning factor of it. And that was, yeah, unfortunate, but not good enough. Antonio's taken a lot of criticism for that, and rightly so, because, yeah, it's just so annoying and frustrating, because there was at least a point right there that we just couldn't capitalise on, because there was no way they beat us when we've got a 3-1 lead, quite a significant way into the match. So I felt like the turning point was there, and it felt like, yeah, this is going to come back to bite us on the backside, and it did just that, with a comedy of defensive errors from Mavropanos and a Gerd that contributed to Brentford turning it around and getting in front 3-2 and holding on to their lead. Just deflating, really, isn't it? Goals from Konstantinos Mavropanos, the own goal. I mean, what are you doing, mate? Seriously, what are you doing? You've got to get over that and head it out. head it out of the box, not try and head it over the goal, because look what happened. You headed it into your own net. You made yourself look like a prat. Thought he was really poor, Mavropanos, today. Didn't drown himself in any glory in the Premier League. Just really poor overall, just passing, just his stability at the back was non-existent today, and I was really disappointed with his performance, which is a big shame. And then Nathan Collins climbed up unmarked in between our two centre halves, poor marking, schoolboy stuff, and Ariola stands no chance. Brentford are 3-2 up, and we didn't really seem like we were going to get back into it from that point, did it? And Brentford take all 3 points, which on balance they probably deserved with the amount of chances they had and the amount of possession they had. Of course, possession doesn't win your football matches. We are fully aware of that as West Ham fans, but they dominated the game and they deserved to win, and they did in the end. But it was avoidable. All 3 goals were avoidable. As I said earlier, if Ariola shouts, that first goal doesn't count. If Mavropanos is a little bit more wired up here in terms of what's going on with the situation, the second goal doesn't count. And if we mark our men properly, the third goal probably doesn't count. So all of their goals were avoidable. All of them were defensive errors, which just accumulate up to a huge frustration. And yes, that doesn't go on Moyes' back. Yes, well, I suppose you could, in a way, the way you could blame it on Moyes if you wanted to, is that the defence were put under extreme pressure because of the midfield that was in front of them, that was inept, tactically inept, and overall was just very poor and not fit for purpose, not fit for the situation. They weren't up to the task, were they? Thomas Suchet dawdled round, as did James Ward-Prowse, ineffectively, and we never, ever in one moment of that game had control of the middle of the park. We were dominated in midfield, as we were pretty much in every area of the pitch, but midfield was of course, it's the centre point of the park. It's the focal point. It's where you want to set the tone, and Brentford set the tone, and we didn't. That's the blinding thing about it. Because of how poor we were in there, it put extreme pressure and struggle onto the back line, and they couldn't cope with it. Without Zuma in there, we couldn't cope. And even out on the flanks as well, Emerson and Soufal were either being dragged into midfield to help out, which left big gaping holes on the flanks, which is why I said in the Tactics Board show a couple of days ago, I don't know why even just to put another player to, Zuma wasn't fit, but put another player into that centre half role and play that back 3. Because I knew the midfield was going to get overrun. It was the big issue that probably cost us the game, because we just couldn't get hold of the ball. All the second balls were falling to Brentford. All of the headers and duels and everything was falling for Brentford because of the way we set up in midfield was so ineffective, and that was obvious early on in the game. And Moyes failed to change it until he brought on Pablo Fornals to try and just put an extra body in there, which didn't work as well because he was ineffective. So everything that Moyes tried today, he did change it from what worked on Wednesday. I said, Moyes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And he tried to fix it, and it didn't work. And we revert back to having no confidence again. We revert back to having a fan base that are in disarray and very angry with Moyes, the players, and our current situation. And it now all of a sudden puts intense pressure on our game against Nottingham Forest next week at the London Stadium, a week tomorrow. And that could be decision time. That could be D-Day for David Moyes if we keep going like this, because it's dreadful. It really is dreadful. And all of it wasn't his fault today, but Moyes had a chance with the substitutions to try and swing the game back in our favour, and he did the exact opposite. He swung it even more in Brentford's favour by bringing on Danny Ings. And a lot of people put on Twitter, and I agree, lost interest when Danny Ings come on, because it completely eliminated, as it has done for the last year, it's eliminated all of our attacking threat. Danny Ings had 5 touches of the ball in 30 minutes of football. Now, that stat's irrelevant if he scores a goal, and with those 5 touches is very good, but he did nothing with those 5 touches. We pay that man 125 grand a week. I got a maths GCSE in the summer, so by my astute calculations this week, every single touch that Danny Ings had of the ball cost West Ham United 25 grand. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic how this man can continue to get on the pitch with half an hour to go, with Moyes hoping he's going to impact the game when he hasn't scored in, was it 17 or 24 games or something ridiculous like that? He's a striker. He's there to score goals, and he's not scoring goals. You could say similar about Mikel Antonio, but I'll get onto him a little bit later. Let's get this straight on Danny Ings first. He is going to have absolutely no impact. I'm sure some of those blokes in the away end could have had a bigger and more effective impact on that game than Danny Ings did, because he just looks disinterested. I do feel for him a little bit because he's lost it. He's completely lost it. Again, is that him or is that the system? Have we turned another proven, have we turned a proven Premier League striker into an absolute donkey? Because that's what he is. I'm sorry, he's a donkey. He should be nowhere near the football club. He should be nowhere near even stepping foot on the pitch and playing for West Ham United. It's infuriating that Moyes consistently stands there and puts Danny Ings on that pitch in a hope that a miracle's going to happen. Einstein said a long time ago, the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that's what Moyes is doing with Danny Ings, expecting different things to happen when it's proven that he is not good enough. And you could have the same discussion with Mikel Antonio. We've got two strikers at this football club who currently are inept, who are currently not good enough for their positions. And we're hoping to go back into Europe this year. With our strikers currently, we played Jared Bowen on Wednesday up front, and he's looked so much better than two two strikers that are strikers, by day. But Bowen's a right winger and he did a better job. It was a breath of fresh air watching Jared Bowen on Wednesday night because he was effective, he was intelligent, he made good runs, and he looked like a striker. Danny Ings or Antonio, you've got no chance. Both of them today were just not good enough at all. There we go. There's my striker rant over. Apologies if you've got headphones in, because this microphone might have picked up a lot of that quite harsh sounds. But yeah, let's calm back down again. Right, where was I? Let's move on from strikers because I could talk about that all day and it'll annoy me. So they are just not good enough. And taking Ben Rama off, I didn't understand that because I didn't think he had a fantastic game, but I didn't think he was as bad as some of the players on that pitch today. I thought Ben Rama was okay. Taking him off is shooting his confidence in the foot once again. Well done, David Moyes. And again, why didn't he play the same way as he did on Wednesday night? It ain't broke, don't fix it. The tactics were strange today. We had a 2-1 lead and there was an opportunity there to grab the game and to go and score another goal. We nearly did with the miss, the sitter, whatever. There was an opportunity to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and go and win it and get another goal. But no, we sat back. Sitting back was the worst thing we could have done because we sat back with two midfielders that just didn't work today. They just didn't work. And James Ward-Prowse looks like a completely different player to what he did before the international break, which again is another worrying issue that we have at this football club. I'm just so annoyed, so frustrated and so angry with just the way that unfolded today. The frustration with the way that we've ended up losing that game from a winning position. And yeah, we were probably fortunate to be in that winning position, but we could have gone on and easily, at the very least, got a point out of it. But no, we sat back expecting to absorb pressure with two defensive midfielders that were by far not good enough, and a defence that was shaky, unstable, and overall crap. I mean, that's the only way I could put it. Just crap. I'm just frustrated. That's the main thing. Moyes has got some serious questions to answer now, and hopefully the players can do that for him on the pitch next Sunday against Nottingham Forest. Otherwise, I fear for his status in a job. And if we lose next week, I'd sack him. And I know I said last week after the Everton game that it's irrelevant at this current moment in time to talk about sacking David Moyes because it's not going to happen. But if we go 4 successive defeats in the Premier League, the board may be left with no other option. Maybe that's a little bit optimistic of me thinking like that, thinking that they will sack him like that if we lose. But I don't know. Of course, I want us to win next week. Of course, I want us to pick up some confidence again. But currently, I don't know. Bringing the players back in next week might make a difference. Well, it should make a difference because they're better than the ones we fielded today, that's for sure. 3 key players, Alvarez, Paqueta and Zuma. Hopefully them back in, we can just look better and Moyes can get to a firm ground of stability, and we can somehow pick this back up again after another devastating defeat. Listen, it wasn't as bad as Villa, it wasn't as bad as Everton, but it still hurts. It still put me in a really, really bad mood. And yeah, It is what it is. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Drop a like on the video and subscribe to West Ham Official if you are new. Overall today, the game was there for the taking at one point and we didn't go and take it. We sat back. We tried to absorb pressure, which was baffling with the players that we had on that pitch today and the system that we played. I just couldn't get my head around it. And we got what we deserved in the end, wholeheartedly. Brentford deserved to win the game, and they did just that. A comedy of defensive errors, a comedy of substitutions, contributed to a really, really poor loss. Come on, you Irons. Hopefully, try if you can and keep the faith. And I'll see you soon right here on West Ham Official. Put your thoughts into the comment section down below. And until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye bye.